連続で水鉄砲。
What's going on, trainers? Trying to match the hype. I'm trying to match the hype over here. Okay. So this episode of Pokemon Horizons was absolutely fire. I freaking love this episode, and I think it's been no secret at all that Dot, I think, is such a really good character, quite a bit. I think that, you know, she's awesome, and not only is she like dynamic in what she does with grooming or Nidothing or whatever it's called in English. I think Nidothing, right? I love that this episode gave her a lot of spotlight and a lot of growth. And I think one of the important things that this episode captured was her vulnerability and kind of her fear at the same time. She obviously, you know, nobody needs to stream. Nobody needs to put themselves on the internet. Nobody needs to do, you know, YouTube or Twitch or, you know, any platform, TikTok, whatever. Like, nobody needs to do that. But you do it because you feel like you have something that you want to share with at least one other person. And I think it's something that is really awesome when you get to come on any platform and you get to share a little bit of yourself, and you get to have that same thing being done back to you in forms of comments or other interactions or anything else. You know, you get to see that value. You get to see yourself being valuable. And I really love that Dot kind of showed her vulnerability in the fact that she had this thing that she wanted to put out there, but she couldn't just do it as herself. So she created this persona and created this character, which I think a lot of people, you know, can really, it's not empathize, but they can really see themselves in Dot. Because I think if you were to look at the landscape of streaming and YouTube and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of similar grooming type people who they're not either confident or comfortable, or they simply just don't want to put their personal self out there on the internet, but they still have that yearning to go and share something with the world. And I think that comes in a lot of forms, especially now. I think there's what's the thing that a lot of folks do? They put like a digital, you know, like a 3D art character on the screen, and they make it talk and stuff with like AI or whatever. And I think that, you know, a lot of people who do those kind of things can really like see themselves in Dot, and I think that's really cool. And this episode kind of spends the majority of the episode with her getting really uncomfortable and then getting re-comfortable, but in the grooming skin, putting herself out there in the world. And the whole time she has, I keep wanting to say Koasu, but she keeps having, like, you know, Quaxley just be like, what is, like, you can tell Quaxley's concerned, and Quaxley's like, what is going on with you? And eventually Quaxley breaks, and they get, you know, they come across a Rever Room, and the Rever Room, you know, steals the grooming outfit and stuff. And that leads us into the next segment, which is, you know, Dot versus this Rever Room, you know, or Dot Quaxley versus the Rever Room. And a lot of people were recording it because she was doing it right in the middle of Levincia, the best city inside of Scarlet and Violet, best city inside of Paldea. Love Levincia. The vibes in Levincia is the best. Ayano, as the gym leader, is the best. But she did it right in the middle of the court there. So, you know, everybody had their phones, and they're like, you know, they're like, you know, boom, you know, they're recording and everything else, you know, with, you know, also, how many Rotoms have been sacrificed just to be a cellular device? But anyways, everybody is, you know, filming and stuff there. And she's uncomfortable still, and she sees Quaxley fighting, and eventually she overcomes that fear of the camera and ends up just zoning into the battle and really impressing everybody that was there. And then Ayano saw it the whole time, and she comes on and says, you know, find me on HBO, Me versus Dot, Madam Dot. And that was a signification for Dot's growth, is being acknowledged by Ayano. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So now next week's episode, we got a preview for it at the end of this week. Next week's episode is fully Dot versus Ayano. Not Guramin, but just Dot. And I'm very excited to see what ends up happening. Quaxley will evolve? Will they just terrestrialize? I don't know. Also in the preview, I love that the professor or the chief of the school was there in the crowd as well too. And I'm just really excited for next week's episode. But this one was really good to demonstrate and show us Dot's growth as it leads into her next, her big battle next week. So overall, fire episode. Really enjoyed it quite a bit. I really love Dot as a character. I think that she will really resonate with a lot of people. And I think that I tend to lean towards loving characters to where a lot of people will resonate with them. Just like I think a lot of people resonate with 𝐒𝐿𝐴. Roy, not as much. And I know a lot of people are like, yo, you're such a Roy hater. And I know I am. But Roy is just your standard, very excitable boy. And I think that there's a lot of them, a lot of those out there. But that seems to fade away a little bit, as unfortunately, as you get older, we lose a little bit of that kid spirit. But regardless, I think that a lot of people can really resonate with Dot and 𝐒𝐿𝐴. But I love this quite a bit. So those are my thoughts. Trainers, I'm going to see you guys next week. It's been real. I'll see you guys for episode 50. Oh my God, 50. I'll see you guys for episode 50 next week.